It's important to understand what cancer loves, because when we want to understand what cancer loves, we don't want to give it that thing. And I have many books in my library at home, many by doctors, scientists, professors, naturopaths, herbalists, nutritionists that have conquered cancer. So my interest is, what have they done? What have they done to bring about healing? And I have found three common denominators. Cancer loves glucose. In fact, it consumes 15 times the glucose of any other cell. Cancer loves an environment where there is no oxygen, and cancer loves an acid environment. In today's world, cancer is one of the leading causes of death, affecting millions of people worldwide. In fact, research indicates that nearly 1 in 3 people will be diagnosed with cancer in their lifetime. Its courses can range from genetics and lifestyle factors to environmental toxins and diet. But what if I told you that certain seeds and grains have been shown to destroy cancer cells? Yes, some grains contain powerful compounds that can help fight this disease naturally. So what are these seeds and grains, and how can they help protect our health? Keep watching as we uncover the science behind it. Before we proceed with the video, leave a comment to tell us where you're watching from. We'd love to hear from you. And what does cancer hate? Cancer hates. That's what we want to give the body, an environment where cancer cannot thrive. So what does it hate? No glucose. And that cancer cannot live in the presence of oxygen. A lady said to me, Barbara, did you know that there's a group of scientists in the US? They're doing tests on cancer, and they're discovering that cancer cannot live in an oxygenated environment. And that cancer, it can't live where there's low oxygen and low glucose. I said, well, I'm very glad that they're looking at that. But did you know that in 1946, Dr. Theodor Warburg got a Nobel Prize for discovering that. So this is not you. And cancer hates an alkaline environment. Cancer thrives in conditions that weaken the body's natural defenses. One of the most well-known observations is that cancer cells feed on sugar. Unlike healthy cells that can use both oxygen and glucose efficiently, cancer cells primarily rely on glucose through a process called glycolysis. Now, even when oxygen is present, this process, known as the Warburg effect, allows cancer to grow quickly by consuming large amounts of sugar. This is why a high sugar diet may contribute to the progression of cancer, because it essentially fuels the cells. Right? Cancer also struggles in well-oxygenated environments. Healthy cells use oxygen to produce energy, but many cancer cells prefer low oxygen or anaerobic conditions. When oxygen is abundant, it creates an environment that makes it harder for cancer cells to survive and multiply. That's why activities that boost oxygen flow, like deep breathing, regular exercise, and good circulation, are often encouraged as part of a healthy lifestyle. Another factor that cancer seems to prefer is an acidic internal environment. Acidic conditions can result from poor diet, stress, a lack of exercise, and exposure to toxins. When the body becomes too acidic, its ability to transport oxygen and maintain healthy cellular function decreases. This imbalance can create an ideal environment for cancer to develop and spread. On the other hand, cancer does not do well in an alkaline environment. This alkalinity helps maintain better oxygen levels in the body and supports the immune system. Now, foods like leafy greens, vegetables, nuts, seeds, and clean water contribute to a more alkaline state. While the body tightly regulates blood pH, the food and lifestyle choices we make can affect the local environment around our cells and tissues. So the question is, what are the seeds and grains that destroy cancer cells? Well, these seeds and grains possess all these characteristics. Keep watching to find out. Number one, millets. For your grains, the millet is alkaline. We had millet this morning. It's a delicious grain, isn't it? And I'm sure you can understand when I said it needs to be dressed. It's basically a bland grain, but it's very nice with the stewed apple and the pear cream and the sprinkles on top. It's also very nice if you have it with a savory, your lentils. Millets are small grains that have been used for centuries, and today they're gaining attention for their health benefits, especially in the fight against cancer. What makes millets helpful is that they work against the same things. Cancer needs to grow. Sugar, low oxygen, and acidity is first, millets are low on the glycemic index. That means they don't cause a sudden spike in blood sugar. Since cancer cells feed on sugar to grow, eating foods that keep your blood sugar steady, like millets, can help slow down the growth of these cells. Unlike white rice or white bread, which break down quickly into sugar, millets release glucose slowly into the bloodstream. This keeps insulin levels in check and reduces the fuel cancer cells depend on. Second, millets are rich in antioxidants. These compounds help reduce inflammation and improve oxygen flow throughout the body. Cancer struggles to grow in an oxygen-rich environment. When your cells have enough oxygen, they function better and are more resistant to disease. Some types of millets, like foxtail, millet, and pearl millet, contain high levels of magnesium, iron, and other minerals that help your blood carry more oxygen. This creates a harder environment for cancer cells to survive. Millets also help reduce acidity in the body. Cancer cells prefer acidic surroundings, but millets are naturally alkaline, forming. That means when you eat them, they help balance your body's pH and create a more alkaline environment. Then this shift may not kill cancer cells directly, but it does make it harder for them to grow and spread. Another important point is fiber. Millets are high in dietary fiber, which helps flush out toxins, keeps the gut healthy, and supports your immune system. Healthy gut and strong immunity are your body's first line of defense against diseases, including cancer. So how do millets help fight cancer? They lower sugar levels, increase oxygen flow, reduce acidity, and boost your immune system, all of which make it harder for cancer cells to survive. Including millets in your daily meals may not be a cure, but it's a powerful step in supporting your body's natural ability to stay strong and healthy. Number two, flax seeds. Flax seeds are tiny brown or golden seeds loaded with nutrients that support overall health and may help keep cancer in check. A standout feature of flax seeds is their rich lignin content. Lignans are plant-based compounds that resemble weak forms of estrogen. They attach to estrogen receptors in the body, gently occupying those sites and keeping stronger estrogens from binding. Since some breast and prostate cancers grow faster when exposed to high levels of estrogen, lignans can act like a mild traffic cop, slowing hormonal signals that might fuel tumor growth. Flax seeds also contain alpha-lignanic acid, 88, a type of omega-3 fatty acid. Omega-3s reduce chronic inflammation throughout the body. Now, when inflammation lingers for months or years, it can scar tissue and trigger cells to behave abnormally. By easing inflammation, allium supports healthy cell function and makes it harder for cancer cells to find a foothold. The fiber in flax seeds is another benefit. Each tablespoon offers several grams of soluble and insoluble fiber. Soluble fiber turns into a gel in the gut, feeding beneficial bacteria that produce short-chain fatty acids. These acids help nourish the cells lining the colon, keeping them strong and resistant to changes that could lead to cancer. Insoluble fiber adds bulk to stools, speeding removal of waste and reducing contact time between toxins and the colon. Number 3, spelt and commute. Spelt and commute are wild hybrids of the original wheat. So let me give you the wheat story. The original wheat that God made is called Incan horn, or some call it just Incan. And that original wheat had a very fragile protein or gluten structure. It is not so when, but they estimate a couple of thousand years ago Incan horn did a wild hybrid with a field grass and came up with the Emma strain of wheat. Its structure, its protein or gluten structure is not as fragile, but it's still fairly fragile. And in the 1950s, it was the Emma strain of wheat that was put through intensive crossbreeding, and it came up with a hybridized wheat that we know today. That hybridization of the wheat created an incredibly complex starch. Not starch, gluten, or protein structure. Yesterday, we looked at the starch that was changed, but today we're looking at how the hybridization process changed the gluten or the protein structure. And it's almost only a cast iron gut that can break down that very complex protein or gluten structure. That explains why so many people are gluten intolerant today. You look at the timeline, so it was the 1950s that the wheat was hybridized. It was the 1970s that it went worldwide. So by the 1990s, every pastor, every pizza, every biscuit, cake, cookie, donut, cereal bread, it's all made out of the hybridized wheat. You see, the farmers love it, and I don't blame them for loving it because they get 6 times more grain per acre. Who wouldn't like that? They've got to pay their bills. But as I mentioned yesterday, it was zoomed through to help with the starvation crisis in the world. And safety studies were never done. This explains the gluten intolerance that we see today. The 2 most common symptoms of a gluten intolerance is brain fog and bloating. I meet so many people that have brain fog and bloating, and they almost think it's normal or it can be blamed on age. But poor old age gets blamed for so many things. Isn't that true? Now, this is in wheat. It also did a wild hybrid to come up with a field grass and with the spelt. So the spelt, it has retained the fairly fragile structure. And if that spelt meal is made into a sourdough bread, then the culturing process in the sourdough bread breaks down that protein or gluten structure even more so that it now has the original structure of their income corn. If someone is silly, they cannot have even the spelt. But if someone's gluten intolerant or gluten sensitive, they can usually handle the spelt, especially if it's made into a sourdough bread. One night he said, "I don't like sourdough spelt bread." I said, "Would you have been tasted a good one? Please taste a few. Some are really good." So you have to investigate. The spelt and commute are 2 ancient grains that are gaining attention, not just for their nutritional value, but also for their potential to help the body fight cancer. To understand how they may help, we need to look at how cancer cells behave. As we discussed earlier, cancer loves sugar, thrives in low oxygen, and grows better in an acidic environment. In the spelt and commute can help counteract these conditions in a few important ways. First, both grains are complex carbohydrates. And this means they break down slowly in the body and do not cause a quick spike in blood sugar like processed foods or refined grains do. Since cancer cells rely heavily on sugar for energy, reducing sugar spikes can help starve them of their favorite fuel. Then, by including grains like spelt and camembert in your diet instead of white bread, pasta or sugary foods can help keep blood sugar levels stable, making it harder for cancer cells to grow quickly. Second, spelt and camembert are rich in fiber. Fiber not only helps digestion, but also supports the removal of toxins, waste from the body. A clean and well-functioning digestive system supports stronger immune system, which is important when the body is trying to fight off abnormal cells like cancer. Also, fiber helps balance pH levels in the body by promoting alkaline environments, something cancer cells dislike. These grains are also packed with nutrients like selenium, zinc, magnesium, and vitamin B complex. Selenium, in particular, is known for its antioxidant properties. Antioxidants help protect cells from damage and can even trigger the death of cancer cells. Magnesium supports oxygen transport in the body, helping create a more oxygen-rich environment that cancer cells struggle to survive in. And camembert and spelt are also easier to digest compared to modern wheat, which often causes inflammation. Reducing inflammation in the body is another important step in lowering the risk of cancer growth, because inflammation can create an environment that encourages tumor development. Number 4, sorghum. Sorghum is a gluten-free grain that has been cultivated for thousands of years. It contains a range of plant compounds that can work against cancer cells. One key group of compounds in sorghum is called phenolic acids. These act like natural shields, protecting healthy cells from damage caused by unstable molecules. When cells are damaged by those unstable molecules, they can begin to grow out of control. The phenolic acids in sorghum help stop that process by neutralizing those harmful molecules before they do harm. Another set of useful compounds in sorghum is flavonoids. These molecules can slow the growth of cancer cells and even trigger them to die off. In laboratory studies, flavonoids from sorghum have been shown to cut the rate at which certain breast and colon cancer cells multiply. Yet they also help reduce inflammation in tissues. Since chronic inflammation can give cancer a chance to develop and spread, reducing inflammation is one more way. Sourdough helps keep cells healthy. Number 5, quinoa. Quinoa is a grain that stands out for its powerful nutritional profile, and recent studies suggest it may help fight cancer in several ways, especially when we look at what cancer cells need to survive. As we discussed earlier, cancer cells love sugar, low oxygen, and an acidic environment. Quinoa works against all 3 of these conditions. First, quinoa is low on the glycemic index, meaning it doesn't spike blood sugar levels the way processed carbs or sugary foods do. Since cancer cells feed on sugar, keeping blood sugar levels steady is important. When you eat quinoa instead of white rice or white bread, you're giving your body steady energy without feeding cancer cells the sugar they crave. This makes quinoa a smart carb choice for those wanting to create a less supportive environment for cancer. Second, quinoa is rich in antioxidants and nutrients that support healthy oxygen levels in the body. It contains iron and magnesium, which help your red blood cells carry oxygen more efficiently. When your cells are well oxygenated, it creates a setting where cancer cells find it harder to survive. This supports the idea that oxygen-rich environments slow down or stop the growth of cancer. Quinoa is also naturally alkaline forming in the body. Although all grains aren't considered alkaline, quinoa is different because it helps reduce acidity. A less acidic environment supports healthy cells and immune function while making it harder for cancer to grow. Including quinoa in your meals can contribute to an internal balance that favors health over disease. One of the most interesting things about quinoa is that it contains compounds called saponins. Researchers show that saponins can cause cancer cells to break down a process called apoptosis. In simple terms, these compounds can tell cancer cells to self-destruct without harming healthy cells. This is what makes quinoa more than just a healthy grain. It may also have cancer-fighting properties. And so by reducing sugar levels, helping oxygen flow through the body, supporting an alkaline state, and containing compounds that trigger cancer cell death, quinoa works on multiple levels. Adding it to your diet is a simple but powerful step toward better health and cancer prevention. Number 6, chia seeds. Chia seeds have gained popularity as a superfood, and part of the reason is their potential role in cancer prevention. A key feature of chia seeds is their high fiber content, around 10 grams per ounce. When you eat chia seeds, the soluble fiber absorbs water and turns into a gel. This gel slows digestion, helping maintain steady blood sugar levels. Since cancer cells thrive on sugar spikes, a stable blood sugar environment reduces the fuel available for their rapid growth. Chia seeds are also rich in omega-3 fatty acids, notably alpha-linear acid ALA. These fats ease inflammation across the body. In lab studies, extracts from chia seeds have been shown to reduce markers of inflammation in cells. With lower inflammation, tissues remain healthier and less likely to support the abnormal cell changes that can lead to tumors. On top of fiber and omega-3s, chia seeds contain a spectrum of antioxidants such as quercetin and chlorogenic acid. These antioxidants seek out and neutralize free radicals before they can damage cell DNA. When DNA damage builds up unchecked, cells can start to divide abnormally and become cancerous. Antioxidants in chia seeds stand guard, reducing that risk. Number 7, pumpkin seeds. Pumpkin seeds, also called pepitas, offer several nutrients and plant compounds that may protect against cancer. One of their key strengths is vitamin E, a fat-soluble antioxidant. Vitamin E molecules sit within cell membranes and intercept free radicals before they can damage the membrane structure. Healthy, intact cell membranes help keep cells functioning normally and reduce the chance that they will mutate into cancer cells. Pepitas also provide a good dose of zinc. Zinc plays a vital role in DNA repair and in keeping the immune system active. When DNA repair is strong, cells can correct mistakes in their genetic code before those mistakes turn into uncontrolled growth. A well-tuned immune system also patrols the body, finding and destroying abnormal cells before they form tumors. Another set of compounds in pumpkin seeds is phytosterols. These plant sterols resemble cholesterol in structure, but help block the absorption of excess cholesterol in the gut. Some studies suggest phytosterols can slow the growth of certain tumor cells, particularly in the prostate. And pumpkin seeds contain unique nutrients called cucurbitacans. The laboratory tests show that cucurbitacans can halt the division of cancer cells and trigger them to self-destruct. They do this without harming normal cells, which points to a targeted effect. Number 8, sesame seeds. Sesame seeds may be small, but they carry powerful compounds that help defend against cancer. One of the most studied groups in sesame is lignones, specifically sesame and sesamol. These lignones have antioxidant activity that neutralizes free radicals before they can harm DNA, right? By preventing DNA damage, they keep cells from turning cancerous in the first place. Sesame seeds also supply vitamin E, magnesium, and calcium. Magnesium plays a part in DNA repair enzymes, helping fix any mistakes that occur during cell division. Calcium supports normal cell growth and helps regulate the signals that tell cells when to divide and when to stop. In lab studies, sesame has been shown to inhibit the growth of certain tumor cells. It appears to block key pathways that cancer cells use to multiply. At the same time, it may help increase the effectiveness of natural cell death signals. Beyond lignones, sesame seeds offer healthy fats that maintain cell membrane integrity, fiber to support a healthy gut, and protein for tissue repair. Sprinkling a tablespoon or two of sesame seeds on salads, stir fries, or bake goods is an easy way to bring these benefits into daily meals. You can also use sesame oil for cooking or dressings, which carries many of the same lignones benefits. By combining antioxidant protection, DNA repair support, balanced cell signals, and direct inhibition of tumor cell growth, sesame seeds help set up an internal climate where cancer cells cannot thrive, and including them regularly in meals strengthens the body's natural defenses on several fronts. And that's it for today's video. We hope you learned something new and valuable. If you enjoyed it, be sure to like, subscribe, and hit the notification bell for more content like this. Drop a comment below with your thoughts and let us know where you're watching from. Thanks for tuning in, and we'll see you in the next one.